Good morning, Red Hawks. This is Mr. Allstott here, and today we're going to be talking about modulation from a minor key to its relative major. So let's begin by looking at this Schumann example, and what I want you to pay close attention to is at the cadential point here is that the cues are getting more ambiguous, right? We have a G sharp and a D sharp here, and the D sharp and the F sharp, but really use your ears here. And then we're going to circle back in a little bit and talk about a modulation into the key of C major. So right now, just pay close attention to the first four measures, but we're going to listen to its entirety. Beautiful. So this is our second most common type of modulations. So we have a modulation from the key of A minor to the key of C major. So if we look at a chordal analysis, this is what we see, is that there's basically a 1:6 ratio here, and this stays congruent throughout the entirety. However, what does change is the quality of the chords. Please don't forget in minor that 2 is always diminished and 7 is always diminished, depending on the form that you're utilizing. Melodic, harmonic, or natural minor. So those are the big three on the T's to T's. So what I would like you to do, and I wish I could have a little screening thing, is to, on a scratch piece of paper, in the key of C sharp minor, first of all, figure out how many flats or sharps there are, and E major, and come up with a comparison of chord by chord by chord. And while you do that, I want you to hit pause and do that now, please. So try it too. Hit pause now. Go. All right. Well, hopefully, in your key of C sharp minor, that from what we've been practicing in class, that you were able to quickly surmise that has four sharps, right? Key of F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, and D sharp. And depending on the examples, we would have a B double sharp in order to provide the T to T in order to create that leading tone. And E major is four sharps. So we're going from the relative minor to the relative major, and again, the 1:6 relationship. So that is the point of that exercise. So now let's return back to measures 5 through 8 here. And this is really, really interesting. This because as we heard, we were in the key of A minor, and then all of a sudden there was this shift, right? And perhaps you don't remember. So let's just start off by listing measures 5 through 8. So now that is pretty stunning, isn't it? How that happens. But now let's just use our eyes for a moment. And this is why, to me, example 22.4 is so important, because the key signature of A minor and C major are the same. And that goes the same for all minor keys to the relative major. So you have to use your ears, trust your ears more than your eyes, so to speak. Because if you're just looking at the D sharp, you don't want to just jump to the fact that, well, maybe we're in the key of E minor, but there's no F sharp. So it can cause some ambiguity. We're increasing our chromaticism with the bass line, our secondary dominant of 2 leading to the 2 with the G pedal. Just absolutely stunningly beautifully written by Schumann. What a great example here. So in the Baroque era, we're going to find that composers such as Corelli freely jumped back and forth from the key of major to minor to minor to major. And they made full commitments to those modulations. So let's hear what that sounds like. Exciting. Very exciting. Let's listen to it one more time. Major and minor. Major. Back to minor. And if you really pay attention, you can hear that tonality shift. So just as an FYI, in the Baroque era, it was not uncommon for composers to just simply rock back and forth between major and minor, and very, as you can see here, in a very quick manner. So when you don't really have a lot of clues to look for, what you need to really pay attention to are the cadence points. Okay, and then look for your pivot chords where it's functioning in both the old key and the new key, old key and the new key, and then kind of stack what was in the key of C major, which is a tonic triad, to the 3 of A minor. And that's why the triad to the ratios and the relationships are important for you to understand in order to do a full harmonic analysis of, in particular, right here. So we're in the key of A minor. Here's our bass line, clearly defining and outlining the continuo of the A minor. And then when we hit that 4-6-5, we need to be able to identify that that is both happening in the key of A minor as well as the 2-7 in first inversion in the key of C major, and then back. So it's always rocking back and forth. So now let's listen to this. Okay, so go ahead and take a moment and hit pause and work out Triad 3. Do that now, please. Okay, so as you are looking, how'd you do? Let's listen to that one more time. You can hear that that's a half cadence, and that there's a modulation, right? So when we do the harmonic analysis, we come up with a G, a B, and a D, and it's clearly in first inversion. So in the key of F major, that's a 2 or supertonic first inversion. And in the key of D minor, this being, because the event is here, we always go back one chord. Just a friendly reminder, that's how we come up with the pivot chord. This is the pivot chord. This is the pivot chord. But now we're getting into territory, my friends, where it's no longer enough just to have the key center change here. It's the functionality of what's happening. And how do you figure that out? By looking at the cadential point. Say that with me. Look at the cadence. If we were in F major and, wait, that's not F major. I'm confused, right? So we need to be able to identify F major and modulating to the key of D minor. So final thing I want to have you just make sure that you're really feeling comfortable with is that the A minor, that is the quality of each chord, okay? And the ratio of A minor to C major, and that there's not really a magic secret distance between the two of them. And use your ears. Let your ears guide you as you continue forward. Look at the cadential points, because that's really the key of telling you if there's a full-on modulation happening. Find where the pivot chord is. Find where the pivot chord is. Find the pivot chord, and then in the pivot chord, while you're doing your Roman numeral analysis, make sure that you are justifying what's in the old key and the new key. And feel free to read through modulations in the minor key in more detail on your own. You can send me an email. We could find a way to go to a meeting or Skype, or we'll figure something out to meet in the coming days here. And as I watch my colleagues and seeing what they're doing as well, as we're all trying to figure all this stuff out. So make sure you do your homework, and that is the first E workbook assignment. Do that in the assignment. And guess what? You don't need to print it and scan it or anything like that. I will have full access to your work, and that is what actually I would like to utilize our time with in the future. Kind of how I'm envisioning is homework questions. So, all right, Red Hawks, be good to yourself. Make sure that you have checked in, both on the class roster, but also that you've uploaded all homework. And that's all I can think of right now. So have a great day. Good luck in your other classes. And again, point 1 for your e-workbook. And you can also check out the our little Google Sheet. All right, guys. Bye.